iPhone 16 Pro Max or wait for the iPhone 17 Pro Max? That's the big question of today's video. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and let's talk about if the iPhone 16 Pro Max is still worth getting right now, or should you just wait for the iPhone 17 Pro Max? Now, to the tech enthusiasts out there and the people that follow the trends and Apple devices and the tech industry, they know, what are you talking about, Nick, bro? Just wait. It's next month. Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. I walked into the Apple store today, see multiple people buying the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Yes, there are real people out there still buying it, even right now. But are they making a mistake? Are you going to potentially make a mistake if you don't just hold off for this? Let's talk about the very first thing, and that's going to be what the iPhone 16 Pro Max does really well, but what the iPhone 17 Pro Max will likely do a bit better than this phone. Now, this phone does a couple of things very well. Number one, very good battery life. They improved the battery life over the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and it's been pretty superb. It just really lasts very long, longer than most even competing Android phones out there. And it's been superb in this area for me for like that standby time, just not having to worry about it pretty much ever. That is this phone right here. It's one of my favorite go-tos for super long battery life. The second thing it does really well is very consistent camera performance across the board throughout the lenses. So you do have a sharper ultra wide, sharp main camera, very solid zoom, although it's not the best zoom. The Ultra Samsung phone beats this here. It's just been a very, very good camera experience. Combine it with the camera control, which did have bugs at first, showing a black screen occasionally, now has become, I wouldn't say an indispensable tool, but definitely something I like to just kind of click to get to the camera. I've always enjoyed to double click on competing phones to get into the camera, but this kind of gives me even faster action to get in there. We do have the action button, but that's not as convenient as where this button has. So we thought we were going to go to more of a no button kind of phone, but including the camera control button has been pretty fun. I'm going to say that right off the bat. Also, the 6.9-inch display has been glorious this year. A very large, but what's really striking about this panel is not that it's just large, but if you look around the edges, it does have very, very thin bezels, which really helps out quite a bit. Where it helps out a lot is giving you this expansive, wide experience, which is really good for things like reading emails, reading text. Let's go over here to news. We'll check out some news articles. When you are reading a text article or anything like that, you just kind of have a bigger display for looking at the pictures, reading all of your article content, and it really does feel like a very joyous experience. Now, we've had this going on for years with other Max phones having a large panel, but this just kind of spreads it out more and just kind of feels like nearly I'm using like almost a 7-inch tablet like in my pocket. So this one has felt bigger than ever, but it comes with one trade-off. It does feel kind of bulkier for having that bigger battery. It is not heavy or thick or anything like that, but compared to some of the thinner Edge, Samsung Edge phones and some of these super thin, razor thin phones coming out, this is one of the big boys on the market. And some people like that. Some people associate that heft with that, good feeling. But what does this not, the 17 Pro Max is likely going to do way better than this. And it's probably not going to do anything like way, way better because, every single phone is lately have been it's already been pretty mature market. So you're likely going to see your usual spec upgrades, but it's going to have, of course, always better cameras. But these cameras are already so good, you probably haven't extracted the full value out of them yet. Or even if you haven't bought one, you might even still not extract the full value out of them. It's going to do a better performance because it's going to have 12 gigabytes of RAM, so it should perform a bit better than this phone, although this phone is still superb. It really has basically perfect performance, especially when you have a non-buggy version of iOS. This thing runs basically flawlessly, but they do have a little bit slower animations than the competition. I don't think most iOS users seem to give a hoot about that, so it doesn't really seem to matter. But it's going to have 12 gigabytes of RAM, so if you are doing power use between different apps, that's going to help out. Also, that 12 gigs of RAM is going to allow for future advancements to Apple Intelligence, which is definitely not their strongest point, but definitely something to keep in mind. It's also going to advance the 16 Pro Max to likely be a heavier phone and also be even better than this one on battery life. with, of course, a faster chip. So you're basically going to get better battery, better chip, probably a similar size because they're already pushing this display as one of the largest, and Apple don't usually change a display year over year. But I do expect to see a smaller dynamic island. So if you want maybe more screen to body ratio, if you look that up, it just basically means how much screen to like the outer edges and like the dynamic island are you getting? Like how much actual screen are you getting? You're probably going to get slightly more with the 17 Pro Max. I wouldn't be surprised if they kept that dynamic island exactly the same size though. We'll have to see what does get unveiled. But definitely I think they might shrink it a bit. So that's something we might see. Maybe a slightly brighter outdoor display. So if that's something you want to get a brighter outdoor display, you could probably wait for that as well. I feel like looking for weak points on this phone is actually kind of a challenge because there isn't too many weak points on this device. You know, the rest, a lot of the weak points could be more subjective based on user preference and what they like. But there really isn't too many. Like it fits good in the hand. It's got a hefty feel, beautiful display, great cameras, great battery life. There's not a lot to really complain about with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Probably more in the way of software, which could be fixed in a simple update, but no split screen is one of my biggest critiques of this phone. It just doesn't make sense why I have this large phone that I only can use one app at a time. I understand human beings cannot really multitask efficiently. We're really single tasking. That's what I believe personally, that we're single tasking people, but we try to pretend like we can multitask, but our brains really can only focus on one thing at a time efficiently. The iPhone can still not do two things. We can at least task switch though. So this is like, you could say, well, it's kind of the same if you're going, no, it's not the same, because if I can have my calculator up here and my equations down here, I can do the calculations and then kind of drag it over here. Whereas this one, I got to go back and forth in between application. That is probably one of my biggest flaws with this phone. Also, if you go over here to try to like turn it, it doesn't go in the landscape. It just makes zero sense to me why this massive 6.9 inch display cannot go into a landscape mode. I understand it's not the most popular mode to be in, but when you're chilling at night, you want to watch some media content. If you're using this as your main device most of the day, it's kind of nice to have a little cozy landscape mode for your little tablety like usage on your phone. And maybe you could say it doesn't have the longest zoom on the market. That could be improved as well. And also a faster charging experience. But they have to find a way to do it faster without destroying longevity and battery life, because Apple knows that a lot of people keep their iPhones an incredibly long time. It's nothing new. So, but finding a way to get faster charging without destroying the longevity of that battery capacity lasting would be a really good upgrade for iPhone. So if you wanted to buy a Max today, should you wait for when it comes to the display? I say not really. Like if you don't need a slightly smaller dynamic island, I probably wouldn't wait whatsoever. If you just want to get the phone now, you'll be totally fine here. I would wait again if you do want a longer battery life, because they're rumored to be bringing several hundred milliamp hour higher battery. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. But definitely, I don't think that the battery is even an issue on this phone. So you probably don't, it's not an absolutely must. I really think this is one of those years again where you're going to want to upgrade if you want all the latest and greatest specs. You want the spec bumps. You want the better rear camera upgrades, 12 gigabytes of RAM. You probably want upgraded front-facing camera. That's something I've been wanting for a long time. There's just a better overall front-facing camera. It's kind of been the same for so many years. That would be an awesome option. You might want a different color option. We don't know exactly what color they're going to bring, but if they bring a new color option that just shines more than these, you might really be into it. And you want the A19 Pro chip. You're more into the AI, Apple Intelligence stuff, and you want to see that advancement in that area. So if you really want your phone to be ready for those advancements Apple's going to bring, this one will still handle it. But I think that as we go on, these spec bumps are going to really help it if you're into the AI and stuff of that sort. So what are the predictions of the day this is going to come? I don't know exactly, but I predict that we're probably going to see an event somewhere around September 8th or 9th. And I think we're going to see a launch somewhere around the 18th or the 19th of September. If we're kind of going by what we're used to seeing year over year. This kind of like the same pattern we always see, so it's pretty easily predictable. Price for these phones though, are they going to go up? Well, the 16 Pro Max I think might go up maybe $50 on the 17 Pro Max. It might be a $50 increase. That's what I think is going to happen. They could also keep it the same. There's a high chance of that as well, because they are going to be still big 6.9-inch phones. But definitely I think that you might want to consider buying the iPhone 16 Pro Max if you just don't care about any of those things that I talked about in this video. But honestly, at this point, like you're gonna probably pay almost the same money and you're gonna get better specifications. So it's kind of more of an impatience thing, or absolutely you have to have it right now kind of thing to go ahead and pick up the 16 Pro Max right now. Because if you do, just wait. If you can just wait it out 1 month, you're going to be able to get this upgraded, and it's going to be pretty awesome. Although you are going to have to do that thing where you got to pre-order it quick and all that stuff. Sometimes they sell out fast, and these are widely available at this point, so you got to deal with that too. The rush to get the new iPhone, but at the same time, this is still a really great phone right here. The iPhone 16 Pro Max has been great all year. That's why I've covered it numerous times, and I expect the 17 Pro Max to kind of carry the torch there. So my final verdict and recommendation is, I would say wait to see what Apple actually launches with the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and then decide if you want to get a 16 Pro Max at an even less cost. I think that is the most wise thing to do. Also, consider the 15 Pro Max if you don't need all these latest and greatest specs, because the 15 Pro Max is going to be even cheaper than both of these and still give you incredible specs that are almost the same as this. So the 15 Pro Max, don't sleep on that one either. But yes, definitely I would say wait it out. Doesn't mean go ahead and get it. We'll do a full comparison between those when they come. But let me know your thoughts. What are your plans for the 16 Pro Max, 17 Pro Max? It helps me gauge what content to make for you guys going forward. And I'll catch you all in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to be well. Have a great weekend, and peace.